So, dear students, ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you so much to our beautiful evolution, the third lecture. Before starting the next lecture, it's so interesting biochemistry. But before just starting this evolution, we would like to deal with scientific presentations in general. Vocabulary and presentations and discussions. So you remember that last time we were thinking how might be a person attacked, and of course you have to deal with this. You are standing in front, the audience is attacking you, and you have to keep calm, just smile, and you have of course remember and respond in a very nice way. How could you respond? First, I'd like to examine the argument that, and you give a smile and you talk. I'm glad you brought this up, but... And our third version, I still feel that, or I still maintain that. And you are talking whatever you're thinking. So, this time, of course, how could I respond to that? Despite of, in spite of, are also possibilities. I don't think it's a valid argument to say that and whatever you like to. I think it may be going too far to say that, and you respond and talk whatever you like to. So, with that, I would like to close the scientific presentation in general, and let us start with beautiful evolution. So, you know that a lot of words are waiting for us. I have to read in English, you see it on the left hand, and I have to translate into German. So, let's start reading. Extinction means aussterben. Family, die Familie. Fossil means fossil. Gap, die Lücke. Genus and genera, Gattung und Gattungen. Group, die Gruppe. Heredity, Vererbung oder Erblichkeit. So let's continue here. Hierarchy means hierarchy. Individuum oder individuell eigentlich. Inorganic means anorganisch. Interbreeding, it's Kreuzen. Und Kingdom, das Reich. So, last time we were starting with the very interesting finches, and I would like to repeat this. So, this comes from a literature. We were reading on the evolution of Darwin's finches. So, 4 sentences are waiting for us, and you remember, blue one means unknown or very important, and black one means familiar to us. The evolution of Darwin's finches. Darwin's finches, Geospecies species, which are also known as Galapagos finches, are classical study subjects of evolutionary science. When Charles Darwin visited the Galapagos Islands in 1835, he collected individuals of the black to brown passerine birds that were later described as new and distinct species of Geospiza. Darwin's finches are endemic to the Galapagos Islands. Although the birds have a similar general phenotype, they are characterized by the species-specific shape and size of their beaks. So, you see that a lot of words are necessary to learn, and of course we will do this. Evolution means Evolution. Finch is in German der Fink. Darwin's finch, Darwin Fink. Galapagos finch, Galapagos Fink. Evolutionary, evolutionär. Individual means in German individuell, and you know that passerine means Sperlingsvogel. So let's continue with that. Distinct, verschieden. Species, Spezies oder Art. Endemic, endemisch, also nur dort vorkommend. Phänotyp, Phänotyp. Species specific means art spezifisch. Shape, die Form. Size, die Größe. Und Beak was Schnabel. So with that I would like to jump to this one. Lineage means Abstammung. Morphology, Morphologie. Natural selection, very important in evolution, means natürliche Auswahl oder auch natürliche Selektion. Offspring sind die Nachkommen oder die Reihenfolge. And organic, we should keep it in mind, organisch. Organism means Organismus. Origin, der Ursprung. Period, Periode. Population, Population. Prediction ist in German die Vorhersage. And rank, der Rang. So let's continue with very important words. Relationship means Verhältnis oder auch Freundschaft. Social means sozial oder auch gesellschaftlich. Species, die Art. Survival of the fittest, Überleben des angepasstesten. You should keep in mind survival of the fittest. System, das System. taxon or taxa, taxon oder taxa. Taxonomic level means taxonomisches Level oder auch taxonomische Ebene. Timescale, Zeitrahmen oder Zeitmaßstab. Universe, das Universum. Variation ist in German Variation, Veränderung oder auch Abwandlung. With that, I would like to jump back to our interesting text, and I would like to read the text as well. In 1977, a drought period resulted in a dramatic decline of the medium ground finch on Daphne major due to a reduction of the plant species with small seeds that are the main food source for the species. A number of larger medium ground finches survived, however, because they could feed on larger seeds that were ignored as the food in earlier years. As a consequence, within a few generations, the birds possessed larger beaks. This data demonstrates that natural selection might not only be the result of long-term evolutionary processes, but may also be caused by periods of rapid selection. So, this is of course very interesting, and I would like to read the words that might be unknown to you or very, very important. Drought, die Trockenheit, Decline, Rückgang, and Reduction, die Abnahme oder auch Reduzierung. Plant, wir kennen das perfekt, Pflanze, da lachen wir drüber. To survive, überleben. Generation ist die Generation. Und to possess ist besitzen. So, of course, we have to deal with exercises, and this exercise we should fulfill with this. What should we do? Verstehen und mündliches Wiedergeben eines Textes. Lesen Sie den Abschnitt gründlich durch. Machen wir. Wählen Sie 15 englische Worte aus, die repräsentativ für den Artikel sind. Können wir inzwischen. Und bereiten Sie eine englische Präsentation des Artikels mit ca. 15 Sätzen unter Verwendung des Schlüsselwortes vor. Können wir eigentlich auch. Lesen Sie sich den Originalartikel nochmal gründlich durch und bereiten Sie Präsentation vor, ohne noch einmal den Originaltext anzusehen. Das ist schon schwierig. Üben Sie Wiedergabe auf Englisch, machen wir auch, und diskutieren Sie. Imagine you are sitting in the audience and you have to discuss. So, of course, we need a text to do this, and I read this. Because of these different and distinctive shapes of beaks, the Darwin's finches are highly adapted to different seeds as food sources. These observations inspired Darwin's theory of natural selection and transmutation of species. Interestingly, species of Darwin's finches show phenotypic changes, author and present-day studies. As has been observed, for example, for the medium ground finches, G.Fortis. These finches are one of the two main species of Geospiza that live on the volcanic Galapagos Island, Daphne Major. These ground finches are characterized by plant beaks and feed on the small seeds of perennials. Wow! So, a lot of words are waiting for us before just jumping to our interesting exercise. What do we have to learn? We learn, for instance, distinctive means in German charakteristisch oder auch ausgeprägt. To adapt, der Name verrät es bereits, adaptieren oder sich anpassen. Seed ist der Samen, Food, Kost oder auch Nahrung, Food Source, die Nahrungsquelle, followed by Selektion oder auch Auslese. Natural Selection kennen wir eigentlich inzwischen. Natürliche Auslese oder auch natürliche Selektion. A very important word in evolution. Transmutation, Transmutation oder auch Umwandlung. So, let's jump to the right side. Phenotypic means phenotypisch. Medium ground finch, mittelgrundfinch. Volcanic ist vulkanisch. Blunt, abgerundet oder stumpf, wie sehen kann Wegs. To feed on, sich ernähren von, and perennial means pernierend, mehrjährig. So, let's jump back to the exercise. Here we can read this more, and we know meanwhile that we have to present in English. We are allowed to use keywords and we have to discuss. So let's read a part of the text once more and focus on keywords. We don't need so many. So we have to read. Because of these different and distinctive shapes of beaks, the Darwin finches are highly adapted to different seeds as food sources. These observations inspired Darwin's theory of natural selection and transmutation of species. Interestingly, species of Darwin's finches show phenotypic changes also in present-day studies, as has been observed, for example, for the medium ground finches, G.Fortis. So this time blue means not unknown, but our keywords. So what would I like to use as keywords? You can read this over there, and I think I'll read this aloud. Shapes of beaks, Darwin's finches, seeds as food sources, natural selection, phenotypic changes, and medium ground winches. So these are very important keywords. You can read this over there once more. Shapes of beaks, Darwin's finches, seeds as food sources, natural selection, phenotypic changes, and medium ground finches. With these keywords, I would like to think what do we know on the text. So it's shown here once more, but of course we don't need this. What did we learn in the very interesting text? The Darwin's finches have different shapes of beaks, and they are adapted to seeds as food sources. So Darwin started his theory, and it's going on natural selection of species due to Darwin's finches. Interestingly, the Darwin's finches show phenotypic changes not only in 1835 but also nowadays, when adapting to different seeds that they could find after volcanic eruption on the island. It's called Major. And these medium ground finches are a beautiful example for natural selection. So with that, I think it's possible to stop at the point and think on our next exercise, discussion. Imagine that you are sitting in the audience and you have to discuss. What can we ask? We ask something like it just written here. Whoops. Which shapes of beaks are possible? It's one interesting question. Sitting in the audience, you may also ask on differences between Darwin's finches and ground finches. Could you explain this in more detail? You may ask for different food sources visible over there. You can ask which seeds are used as food sources. Could you explain Darwin's theory in more detail? What is natural selection? What is transmutation of species? Could you explain this in more depth? Or you can ask, explain phenotypic changes in more detail. So these are a few examples that might be asked. So with that, I would like to jump to our vocabulary, and I think it's interesting. What do we have to know? Human means human oder auch menschlich. Evolution is evolution, so the number of the text even. We are specialists in food and food source. You see this over there. And we know that hominid means hominiden. Adaptation, die Anpassung, Meat war das Fleisch, whereas fruit ist die Frucht. Fallback food, Ausweichnahrung für important evolution. Prolonged, anhaltend oder auch andauernd. And we are very specialists in drought, die Trockenheit. So, with that, I would like to jump to the next slide. Analysis and analysis means Analyse oder auch Analyse. Value, der Wert. Remember that dental means Zahn im Zusammenhang. Animal war der Schmelz oder auch Zahnschmelz. Ancestor, very important in evolution, Vorfahren. And we already know that perfectly. Plant, die Pflanze. Species, Spezies oder auch Art. C3 photosynthesis means C3 photosynthese, and we jump to camp C4 photosynthesis. C4 photosynthesis. We know something on carbon, Kohlenstoff. We know that isotope war Isotop. And Hominid, Hominidi oder auch Menschenaffen. We are familiar with that. So, a lot of words are waiting for us. We know that diet war Kost oder auch Ernährung. Tropical, tropisch. Grass, das Gras. Sedge war Säge oder auch Riedgras. And we are familiar with fossil, das Fossil. We know that Australopithecus is Australopithecus. Trophic means trophisch oder auch Ernährung im Sommer. Vegetation, die Vegetation. Dentition war Dentition, Ausdruck mit Zähnen. Masticatory, mastigatorisch oder kauen. Chimpanzee, Schimpanse. We are familiar with baboon, Pavian. To feed on, sich ernähren von. Ecological means ökologisch. And analogy means Analogie. So, I think we learned many things on evolution. With that, I would like to stop at that point, and we're looking forward to our next lecture on biochemistry. With that, I'm saying tschüss for this time, and we're looking for our next